Hello everyone, welcome back to Alkaline Hydroxide 784. And yes, I'm a bit late to the National Day video, but as you can see, I'm not exactly in the best of conditions, and it's kind of just hard to make myself do things. But as of now, I don't actually have a lot of good topics to talk about on National Day. So what I'm going to talk about is the news that there was an AI generated poster with mistakes in it. And that made me think certain things like what are we gonna be expecting in the future? How are NDP posters gonna get affected by this, and what this means for us? Was I'll just say that personally I am quite anti generative AI and ChatGPT. Like I don't really like them. I don't want to use them. I don't really like that they're being so widespread. I'm actually fine with like AI being used for research purposes, like specific custom made AI for one specific purpose. That makes a lot of sense. But ChatGPT, it's kind of like a glorified search bar that kind of just affirms everything that you say and doesn't seem to really sometimes can make a lot of mistakes and can cause a lot of problems, and I feel like it's better not to let it be so widespread. But either way, that aside, speaking of the generated AI posters, there were certain mistakes, like the flag was completely misrepresented in, I think there were two of them, but the one that I'm going to show is just the one that I saw about the Bedok one. It's the Indonesian flag instead of the Singaporean flag. I think the crescent was facing the wrong way. Um, yeah, so what that makes me feel like two things. One, which is that since Singapore is already so interested in using AI, similar to places like South Korea, and I think some of the East Asian nations are very into using it. But since we are so, going towards using AI for all sorts of things that can cause certain problems, we need to use it more responsibly. Like we need to check whether there's mistakes, we need to check whether anything has been misrepresented before just sending it out into a published state. And the reason why this happens is because normally if you were to use a human, the human would actually be checking their work before they give it to you in the first place. And usually people don't bother doing further reviews once they get the finished product. But when this is applied to an AI generated work, that can cause a lot of issues because the AI is not going to check whether the flag is generated correctly or if anything else is generated correctly. And of course, I remember seeing that it was made by a prompt written by a senior, and that's all fine and well. But if you're gonna let someone create something with AI, you need to include additional checks in the process to make sure you don't create a very misrepresented flag or create some very grave mistakes. And the second thing is that Singapore already has a pretty flailing art industry. Our art industry is quite neglected compared to other industries, and at the very least, using us getting our artists to help us with NDP or to create promotional material is at least one way that they can get income. But when we are now resorting to AI, that is quite a bit of a big of an issue because now artists have even lesser opportunities to get paid work and also to contribute to our country's, NDP or like other such big events. And additionally, it shows just how much we are willing to just trade off our creativity to some AI generated stuff. And I really hate that aspect of it because AI is kind of robbing all of the creativity and originality that comes from a human generated poster, like human made poster that has taken at least 2 or 3 hours of work to put together and is well thought out, it has been checked. And of course, a person making a poster was gonna make sure that the poster is good. They're not gonna try to just make something quickly and push it off. They're gonna check that the work actually is good and there's no mistakes before they even send it off to the final review. Whereas in AI, it takes like 2 seconds to make a poster, And you're done. Yay! And it basically plagiarizes off of many other existing posters or images. And that's one thing that I really don't like about generated AI. But unfortunately, it looks like this will be a lot more common in the future because people are using it for so many things nowadays, and I absolutely hate it. But I can't do anything about it. I have to accept that most people are using it nowadays. And what we would need to take note of moving forward is probably one to learn how to use it responsibly, because at the moment, like using such posters, we're kind of disrespecting the Singapore flag, disrespecting NDP as a ceremony. Even if it was not intentional, it's kind of an unintentional disrespect. And I feel like we should not be allowing this to happen moving forward. We need to be a bit more strict about how AI generated posters are used, and we need to have more reviews in place. As for who's to blame, well, surely I know they mentioned like the people creating the poster, but honestly, everyone has a part to play in how a poster is created, right? So, of course, the seniors may not know fully how to do the checks and how to type a really good AI prompt that will create a perfect poster. So the responsibility should fall at least partially onto those doing the final reviews before it's released. So that's my thoughts on it. And I'm pretty sure all of you have similar thoughts to me. Or if you don't, that's fine as well. But personally, I wish we wouldn't be using AI posters in the first place, and we could support our local artists to create some much nicer posters that would have a lot more originality and thought into it. Yes, that's all I have for today. I'll try to make my Tanah Merah video soon when I'm feeling a little bit better. Don't worry about me. I'm good. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy National Day, and with that I would like to say thank you and bye.